That was a big sup. Woo! I don't have work tomorrow, so I'm allowed to do this. Welcome to Little Town Big Queeries, and today's query is how do I handle a breakup? So in this episode, I'll be talking about how breakups affect your mind, how they cause grief, healing remedies, little fun rituals, coping mechanisms. I'll be talking about other people's stories that they've sent in, like their little breakup stories, and some advice as well. And to end it all off, I'll be talking about my own breakup story or stories. And yeah, it goes from 0 to 100 real quick. And yeah, ooh, a little disclaimer, there will be serious discussions of, say, suicide and, like, breakups and, like, take care of yourself. There will be a proper description of what is said because I don't know yet. I haven't talked yet. But yeah, there will be stories sent in and they are pretty dark. So they're not going to be until like kind of the end of the video. I will timestamp that for you. But yeah, just take care of yourselves. So without further ado, it's not you, it's me. I still want us to be friends. I just need some space right now. I think we've grown apart. You're just too good for me. It's too good to be true. You deserve someone better. Well, they were all the cringy breakup lines I found on Google. But yeah, I want to break up with you. So breakups are something that we'll all experience once in our lifetime. And yeah, it's something I wanted to talk about because I came from a very messy breakup. So it's something I could add some bit of content to. And yeah, I kind of wanted to dive more into like the mental effects, the grief, and how um I don't know, like my breakup story would be different to like other people's kinda. So yeah, and breakups take a toll on people definitely, and they've took a toll on me, but everyone has like their different wee stories. I can't wait until I jump into everyone else's little stories that they've sent in and like the just to compare on like how badly people treat each other and how people cope with breakups differently. Just like the different feelings. Or maybe it was like a very, very toxic relationship. You knew the relationship was not good for you, but like, the separation part, it's hard thing to do, even though like it's not good for you. It's like kind of all you know. So I conducted a little bit of research on breakups and on the mind. I found a few studies on how like psychologically how it can damage you in the brain. It can like affect you physically as well. So not only could you like suffer, anxiety and depression, but it can lead to like serious health problems. I found that research explains that when a relationship ends, people aren't only losing a person, they're losing identity, routine, imagined futures, emotional safety, shared memories, future plans, basically an entire psychological structure. So kind of like what I said before, where like you could be in a toxic relationship, you you probably just don't like the person that you're with, but you will miss like the the I don't know, the mirage of a happy family. You more or less miss the relationship itself, not the person, but you just miss being with someone. And when I did mention that, like, breakups can cause grief, like, that is true. But I did find something really interesting that is the idea of disenfranchised grief, which is grief society doesn't fully validate. So I'm guessing, like, obviously, do you ever get when your dog passes away and like you're sad about it and like there would be people being like, oh, it's just a dog, like they wouldn't take that seriously if you're like really grieving over like the loss of like your partner, not that they died, that they broke up with you, like people wouldn't take it as seriously as someone actually passing away. Meanwhile, the person may be experiencing insomnia, panic, obsessive thoughts, appetite changes, depression, or even physical symptoms. One study referenced in the research found that when participants looked at photos of an ex partner after a breakup, brain regions associated with physical pain become active. This means your brain can process rejection the same as injury. People can describe chest pain, nausea, exhaustion, shaking, even withdrawal like symptoms. I found articles heavily focused on attachment theory. Basically, the idea that our early emotional experiences shape how we bond with people later in life, and this becomes really important in breakups. The research suggests securely attached people generally recover better because they can seek support, regulate emotions, and rebuild stability. But anxiously attached individuals can experience breakups almost like abandonment trauma. That's where you can see obsessive rumination, constant check-in, idealizing the relationship, inability to let go, emotional panic, intense yearning. And avoidantly attached people might appear detached outwardly, but can suppress grief instead of processing it. And I also found a lot of articles discuss something called complicated grief disorder. I think I got that right. Where grief becomes chronic and life disrupting rather than gradually healing over time. This could be intrusive thoughts, emotional numbness, inability to move forward, identity confusion, bitterness, avoidance behaviors, and the feeling life has lost meaning. So it really goes to show how much like a breakup can affect like your overall like body, your mood. It can like affect your psychological behavior throughout the years. You know, everyone knows that it can mess up like trust issues and like how could you be like vulnerable to like certain people again. Like breakups are a lot more serious than like society lets on them to be. I remember even at like such a young age, I thought that like breakups were such like a serious thing. Like there was one fact that my mom told me that I don't I don't know, my mom would always feed me like false facts and I think it's brilliant. She told me that Johnny Cash, after June Carter, his wife, died, um I think it was like only a few months, I don't know, half a year later, I don't know, there's like a short period of time between them dying. But my mom told me that after she died, Johnny Cash then died of a broken heart. Like she was like, that is how he died, and like remembered that forever until like I was coming to doing this episode, and I was like, I want to research that again. Like, is that true? And it turns out there's no medical diagnosis of death by heartbreak for Johnny Cash. Officially, he died from complication related to diabetes in 2003. But emotionally and psychologically, many people around him believe that the loss of June Carter had a major impact on his decline. After her death, reports described him as deeply grieving, physically weaker, more withdrawn, and emotionally devastated. Obviously, he didn't die from a genuine heartbreak. It was just his like health just declined. He didn't really look after himself, and like, can you blame? Imagine the love of your life just passed. But it adds to my theory that real medical research showing intense grief can worsen existing health conditions, especially in older people or for those already ill. Severe bereavement can affect stress hormones, sleep, immune functions, heart health, appetite, and motivation to care for oneself. But then I was digging a little bit deeper and I found this little cool factoid. Well, it's not really cool because it involves people dying. There's even a recognized condition nicknamed broken heart syndrome. So I think that's like what my mom kind of conjured up. I'm going to absolutely butcher this. The tak, Takotsubu cardiomyopathy, where acute emotional stress temporarily weakens the heart. There you go. So technically, you probably can die of like heartbreak in a way, in a very like specific scientific term. Taco. I'm not gonna re-say it actually. So I am a professional at breaking up. Um, well, I've never actually been broken up with, but in my relationships, I have been the person breaking up is because like I'm super indecisive and yeah, probably other factors to that. And before I get to my stories, I thought it'd be really, really funny if I laugh at your guys' stories first and laugh at your heartbreaks. And yeah, there's a few of them I've read, not like completely, I just kind of skimmed them. And I'm like, fuck, I feel so bad for all of you. That's like so horrible. But yeah, let's just jump right into it, shall we? So these are totally anonymous. Well, some of them aren't, but like I'm gonna keep them all anonymous. First one. So I used to date this girl for about 2 months. We were very happy until she wasn't in the right place. Depression. And that's not funny. It's just she used to tell me a story about an ex that used to abuse her and all ages ago, and always thought that I was going to do the same. But she thought I was a gentleman, being nice and treating her right. So when I break up, no shit, reading this, I keep thinking my ex wrote this. It's so fucked. I don't think he did though. Did he? No. But she thought I was a gentleman, being nice and treating her right. When the breakup came, she said it wasn't me. It was her. That's what I said. Hey, she wanted to stay with her mom to try and get better. Next month went by. She started texting and she started sending me photos. So I passed no remarks and sent some back. 2 days later, she said she's gonna go self harm and said I only use her photos. Huh? When she wasn't. What? 2 days later, she was going. 2 days later, I can't read this. What? Who the fuck read this? 2 days later, she said she gonna go self harm and said I only use her photos when she wasn't the one starting sending. So I don't understand that, but even though I wanted to help out, I couldn't. Another month goes by and she was back with her ex boyfriend. Damn. Here's another one. She made it clear she'd rather live in a shithole zoo with her adult children rather than in a nice clean home with me after 7 years of marriage. I would have been willing to live with her adult children. You're making it very obvious that it's adult children. Imagine they're just like 18. I would have been willing to live with her adult children if they were respectful, but the shithole and zoo were boundaries too far, and this was after taking care of her grandmother for 3 years and being forced to live in absolutely disgusting conditions while she was in medical school and residency. Also, on my very last morning in the house, her sister was in the house drunk, making threats against me. Cut all four of my tires of my work vehicle. What the fuck did you do? I'm not pushing the blame on anyone, but like Jesus. And I have a recording of her making statements that if she ever saw me in public, she would end me. Needless to say, the attorneys have been handling all communications ever since. Mad one. She cheated on me with one of my guy friends. We were and I was polyamorous, and I had recently moved back to my hometown. We both agreed that it wasn't wise to sleep around the friends group. She did it anyway. So you never get the friend group involved. So this bad move, bad move. We went out together on New Year's Eve. She went home with him early in the morning and left me alone all New Year's Day. I said that hurt a lot and I felt insecure about their supposed fling, but she didn't even slow down with him. I put all my energy into our home. We were building it together. I drove her wherever she needed to go, and I still was left alone every weekend. Still, I was chosen second. I gave her another chance to choose me, bought us drinks all night, and at the end of the night, she invited herself over to his place. And my heart finally broke. Since then, she's put all her spare time into a relationship. I'm struggling to separate because she is being so avoidant. I'm struggling to separate because she's being so avoidant. Wouldn't that be easier to separate? Or maybe it's harder because you need, like, I don't know, answers, whatever. She had said she'd wanted to get married to me and did all this to me while we were building a life together. I ended up homeless, separated from my friends. I don't think I'll ever love the same way again. Jeez. Same, bro. Same. There was one last one that's fucked. I felt so bad for this person. My ex broke up with me in 2015, a few months after my mother was diagnosed with cancer. Her reasoning was your mental health is bad and you're spending too much time with your mom. Fucking hell. I was her caretaker until she passed in 2017. May she rest in power. I'm very sorry. A few months after she passed, I started dating someone else. My ex crawled back into my DMs to beg for me back. She was drunk. I said no. She told me I ruined her life. I laughed. I ended things amicably. Yep, with the woman I was dating, and I was single until 2019. Started dating a woman I'm seeing now in 2023. We went to Disney together for Christmas. My ex crawls back into my DMs to ask me something about my old YouTube channel. She then asked how I am. I told her about my trip and the grief therapy I received after losing my mother and then my aunt. Jeez. A switch flipped and she turned into a raging jealous whirlwind, insulted me and some other cruel things about me being crazy. I laughed, my partner laughed. Advice: block the exes you don't part amicably with. Fuck. Imagine, jeez, imagine your parent was dying with cancer and, oh, I'm breaking up with you because you're spending too much time with your dying family member. Get a fucking grip. So coming into like my terrible breakup stories, um I've only been in like 3 relationships. I was with one person for like say 4.5, like 5 years almost. And as much as that was like toxic enough, it was like we were fucking kids. So yeah, I ended up I actually broke up with him twice. I'm very sorry. The first time was like I really didn't know where my head was at. I think, it had a lot to do with me being bi, and I just had the like need to explore, but then I'm a too much of a fucking shite bag anyway. So I broke up with him, and we were like split up for like 6 months, and it was kind of like back and forth, low key, like communication, and then like friends would get involved, and yeah, we just like got back together. And I remember we were talking, us getting back together, and he'd say some shit that like at the time I was like, "Oh my god, you're telling me the truth. Like this is real. I believe you." It was such bullshit now that I think about it. But like my whole story is that like my whole family, like I'm the baby of the family. All of my family, they kind of grew up and left on their own. And at a certain time, when I was like 17, 18, especially when I was being moved into the homeless accommodation, like I was like left on my own. And at the time, I was kind of loving it, like I was like a teenager still, but I was like, independent. But thinking back on it now, I wish I was still with my parents back then. So yeah, I was like being put in this homeless accommodation, and he would like I don't want to say remind, because he's not reminding me anything because it was absolute bullshit, but he would say to me, "Oh look, Billy, your whole family's left you and I'm the only one here for you. Like you have to be with me, like no one else wants you," basically. And I was just like, "Yeah, yeah, okay, oh my god, you're totally right, no one fucking does want me." And like again, got back together with him um for like another 2 years or so. But I haven't got the best advice, but I'm gonna throw in little like red flags and yeah, little bits of advice. Number one, um, do not get back together with an ex. I just don't do it, especially if like you break up and like obviously like I done some shit and he was doing some shit, and then we got back together, and it was just like, it would fuck with your head, the paranoia, and you'd feel like so insecure that someone else was like involved. So yeah, just like don't do it. Like just walk away from that shit. You're gonna find way better anyway. I unfortunately didn't find any better. It got a lot worse for me, but still, it's worth just to leave that shit. And then the second time, yeah, obviously, like when we got back together, like we thought we kind of got into like that honeymoon moon phase again, and then after like a few months, it was just so toxic. It was like arguing every day. I remember waking up in the morning, arguing, going to college, coming back home, arguing, going to work, and then coming back home, arguing, go to sleep, wake up, arguing. It was just wouldn't fucking stop. Got to the point where I ended up in NA. Like it was just like my head was all over the show. It was just not good. And you know what? Like there was some stuff I do regret with him. Like I wasn't perfect in that relationship either. And yeah, we were just really, really bad for each other. So yeah, and then we were breaking up, and it was quite, when we were breaking up, we were like, this has to happen. We're not happy with each other. We lived with each other. We had a flat, so it was a bit complicated. And like, I fucking wanted the flat, especially me struggling with homelessness. Like that prick. Sorry to call him a prick. Fuck him. He had a house, like he had a family with a house to go to. Like I didn't have that, so like I wanted that flat to myself. But when like you're breaking up with someone, you kind of like you kind of feel bad. This is what I wanted to say too when it comes to like, I've never been broken up with. I've only broken up with people, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh my god, breaking up with people is a lot harder than being broken up with," because like I will bawl like an absolute baby if someone I really like broke up with me. But it was still like hard enough to break up with him and be like, "Right, you're getting kicked out now." So we were just talking about options, and like the more I thought about it and the more we talked about it, like we're breaking up. I want to start fresh, and I think that's so good. That's advice number two. Just like you need to like I don't know, bathe all the filth off you, start fresh. And that's what I wanted. I was like, oh, I'd love to get myself like a house would have been sick, but that is like not gonna happen, not a chance. But I was really aiming for something of my own, like my own wee flat. But it was getting really difficult, and also he had given me like a timeline of like, I think, say like a month. By the end of the month, like, find yourself a new place. Bear in mind, the entire time I had like a little dog with me, so it's not like I could just up and leave and like stay at a friend's house. I had to think about wee Murphy. Like, I needed to get a place that allowed dogs. I met a good friend, Leah McBride, and I was just telling her, I was crying to her, being like, oh my god, no, like I have nowhere to go. And she had a spare room in her house, and she offered me to move in with her, and she let Murphy move in with her as well. And it was fucking class. It was so nice just to get out of it and into like, a nice little friendly space. So I've just left like a 4.5 year serious relationship, like we were living together, like almost planning a future together. Left that, and then jumping into like another pretty serious relationship. And this second guy, like he was lovely, like he was so dead on. I don't want to sit here and call him like a nice guy, but he was genuinely lovely. There's nothing wrong with him. But the thought of me like jumping into a serious relationship just like scared me. I was just like, I don't want to be caught up in this toxicness again. Like, I'm just so scared that all this stuff will happen again. So I think we were dating for, oh god, was it like 5 months? I can't really remember how long we were going out for, but it was like very short, and I just had to come clean with him. I was just like, I'm so sorry, but like I don't know if I'm ready for a relationship. I just need some time to sort myself out. And yeah, that was very short lived. It was very sad, and yeah, he didn't really deserve that. But he's got a girlfriend now, and you know what? They're really happy couple, very lovely looking couple. So like, fair dues to them. So after the second guy, I did take like a long break. I just needed to like sort my shit out and just like figure out what I like, what I want to do. And that is when I hopped on like dating apps. It would have been like for like boys and girls. And then like if you're from Fermanagh, or like I'm just generally guessing that like Northern Ireland's like shit for like dating apps anyway for same sex couples. But yeah, there's like no women coming up, so I just fucking turned the boys off. And then like very few women came up. Say like I'd see 10 women, I'd swipe maybe like 5, and then I'd get like one match, and I'll say hello and they'll never respond to me. That is like my dating, that is my online dating experience. So like after like that has failed like many times, I just like then gave up. I was just like, yeah, fucking men go crazy after me, and then women just aren't interested. So that is, I generally just gave myself like a really long break. I remember I was just finishing up college, so I was just like focusing on that, and I was just like focusing on work. I just like really put my head down, and yeah, got distracted myself that way. And then obviously with friends, after like my first relationship, going back there, like that was like pretty toxic, to the point where like you know your partners just don't like you hanging out with like people, like your friends, like even like your girlfriends. They'll feel threatened. So it was so nice, like after I left that and I was living with Leah, being with like the whole group, like it was so like refreshing, just like to be with friends and not be with like your boyfriend that will like hate you for no fucking reason because you breathed in a certain way. So yeah, after those two relationships, I just called it quits for a while, and then I get to the third, which is like the most traumatic. This is like where the police get involved. So I worked in a meat factory, funny enough, and I fucking hated it there. There was like so many dickheads that work in factories. Never work in a factory. If you hate yourself, work in a factory. But anyway, I was leaving, and there was this guy I'd always see. Never spoke to him. Like I'd pass him, like in passing, we'd like look at each other, we'd like smile. Like that was amount. Like I didn't even know if he spoke English at all. I just remember like seeing him, like he was tall. He like seemed like a gym lad, and like he had like cool like band t-shirts. I just thought he was like alternative as fuck, just different. And like, I'm not a person to be like, hello, how are you? Like, my name is Billie. Like, do you want to exchange numbers? Like, that is not, I'm not gonna do that. So like, I kind of just like noticed him. That is like the best way to describe it. I never had a crush on him. I just noticed him. And when I was leaving the factory, I don't know where I got the balls from, but I was just like, oh well, it's not really balls because it is pretty cowardly. Because like, when I was leaving, I was like, oh, I'm gonna like, this is so gay. I want to write him a note with my number on it and just kind of like, throw it at him and then like run away. And that's exactly what I done. And never do that. Red flag number 1, advice number 3. I don't know. Don't give your phone number out to random strangers. Like, that's my fault. I put my hand up. I'll take the L on that one. But yeah, don't do that. I just thought, what's the worst that could happen? And the very worst does happen. And unfortunately, he like texts me back, and it starts from there. And we never really like. So like, a little backstory on him. Again, I didn't know anything about him, and we were like kind of texting small paragraphs about ourselves. So my understanding of him is that he is from Australia. He's Australian, and he moved over here. Like, he's only been living in Ireland for say a year or two, because yeah, he first wanted to travel to Canada, and then that failed because he didn't have enough money, and then he ended up in Ireland then. So I don't know if he's been out traveling the entire 2 years, or if he's been, I just thought he's been in Ireland for a short period of time. He's very shy. That's why he's very quiet. He just has like no friends. And I really related to that big time because, like, obviously I moved about a lot. Like, I moved to the Isle of Man, didn't know anyone there. I was a bit of a weirdo. And I thought, I kind of mirrored that. I thought that was the same thing that he was going through, that he just didn't know anyone. And I needed to, like, help him, take him out around Fermanagh and whatever. But yeah, so our so that would have been our first kind of like, talking stage, would have been just through text. So it turns out that he's like obviously a gym lad, and we actually go to the same, or we did go to the same gym. And so that would be like our meetups, was to go to the gym. And I thought, oh yeah, that'd be cute, go to the gym. We can get to know each other a wee bit better. And but like, when we got there, it was just, he was so serious, and like the routine, and like, checking my form was all right, which is like fair enough. We're at the gym, but it's just like, you know, read the room. Like, we're obviously here for a reason. Like, let's fuck the gym. Let's go for a coffee and a burger instead. And then we went to a festival. So that would have been like another meetup. And then when we were at this festival, we went out for dinner. And by the way, it fucking embarrassed me at that dinner. Like, in the middle of, like, it was a big fuck off room. I'm pretty sure there's a wedding reception in the same room. A lot of people. And right, okay. I hate fussy eaters. When it comes to icks, I don't want to say it's an ick. It's not that serious, but like, I hate fussy eaters. Like, just fucking eat it. Like, wise up. But he doesn't like sauce. Like, he doesn't like, say, like, chicken curry. He wouldn't eat it because his food's covered in sauce. And I remember once when we were eating at this restaurant, I was eating chicken carbonara. Try this chicken, and he goes, "Oh, there's sauce on it." I'm like, oh. And he put it in his mouth. He goes, "Ugh," spits it back out again, like, so obnoxiously. Like, do you not just grab a napkin and go, like, spit it if you don't like it that much? But like, wise up, just swallow. Yeah, no, that was really embarrassing. And funny enough, so at this dinner, this is where he was like, "Oh, so I just wanted to ask, are we in a relationship?" And I was like, taken aback, because there was no running up conversation to this. Like, on the spot, he just asked that. All conversations before were very, like, about the gym, photography, like very mundane things. And he just springs up with like, "Oh, are we in a relationship?" And I was just like, mouthful of carbonara. I don't know. And he goes, "Well, I've told my mom that you're my girlfriend." And I was just like, ah, shit. Uh, red flag number 2, advice number 5. I've lost count. Um, if a man ever says to you that he's been telling his parents that you're in a relationship, and you just clearly aren't in a relationship, red flag. Run away. Run out of. Throw the carbonara in his fucking face and run away.
Run, bitch! Run!
I awkwardly was just like, yeah, we're in a relationship. And I was just like, I didn't know the consequences in the moment. I just thought, well, let's have some fun. Like, oh, we're at a festival too. Like, I was probably off my nut, like, when he asked me, eating a carbonara. But, yeah, that's how that started. And then once we were, like, seeing each other, he would have, like, brought me to his, like, flat more often. And it got a bit weird where he was just like, "Oh, I want you to keep staying at mine. I don't want you to go back to yours." And I was like, when I first heard that, I was like, "Oh, he's so sweet. Like he's so obsessed with me. He doesn't want me to leave." But like it got a bit like, now that I'm thinking back, like he didn't want me to leave. Like he wanted me to be locked up, like fucking Fritz. I don't know, in his basement or some shit. I don't it was just real creepy. Like he'd make remarks like, "I really like it when you stay at mine. I really like that you're dependent on me." And when you think of that, that is nice, but it's like it could be very like solemn at the same time when you say that to a woman. Like, "I want you to depend on me." Like, what the fuck? Go away. And there was like certain moments when it came to like my friends. So like my friends that were like all on the pod, like, they're really fucking easy to talk to. Like you can speak to these people, and so like I remember I brought him out for a few drinks with us all one night just for them to meet him for the first time, and he was the entire time. Like all my friends are engaging in conversation with him, and he's just sat there like staring down, like not like he would like give them one worded answers, and it was really fucking embarrassing at a certain point. And once we were finished drinks, I can't remember if we came back to mine or no, we definitely came back to mine because we like argued and I didn't want to see him. But yeah, he dropped me off at mine, and I remember him saying this to me, and it was just like I felt so sorry for him. But this is where I was starting to get like a little bit pissed off. But like, by the way, if you're a guy or like anyone, like if you say this to your like, don't say this to your partner because it's pathetic as fuck. So when I got back to my flat, he was bringing me to my front door, and he just says to me, "Am I man enough for you?" And I was just like, "Fuck's sake!" I was like, in the moment, I was just like, "Yeah, no, you're man enough." Red flag number 4, advice number 17. I don't know. Like when a man says like, "Are you man enough?" Just be like, "No," because like you don't have to ask that question to know. But like the red flag is, and like the bit of advice would be, just don't feed into it like I did, because I was just like, "Oh no, you're man enough for me, like totally, like you're a big strong man and you're strong like ox." And I remember there was a second time we went out for drinks, and like I was so excited to go out for drinks with my friends this time because we all work. It's very like, I think you can relate with your group of friends that like it's so rare that like you all have the same days off to go out and have a sesh together. And that was happening. And I remember I said to him after the last experience being so boring and him just killing the fucking mood, I made it known, or I told him that I'm going out, like it's me, I'm going out. And he let on that like, "Oh, that's fine. I don't want to go out anyway. I didn't enjoy last time." And I was like, "Okay, thank fuck for that." And while I was like doing my makeup or getting dressed or anything, I seen him getting dressed. And I was like, "Oh, where you going?" He goes, "Oh, I'm coming out with you." I'm like, "Oh, no, you're not." I didn't say that. Didn't want him to swing for me. I thought like he didn't want to go out or anything. And he says, "Oh, well, you said that all your friends are out and you said this is a rare experience. So I'd like to meet everyone." I'm like, "But you met everyone last time. It's the same people that you ignored. Like, why are you doing this to me?" So he came out again, and I thought maybe his attitude's gonna be a wee bit better. Maybe he was like super shy, and it just like kind of fucked him up. But no, it was the exact same. If anything, it was a lot worse. Like he was being like ignorant to me. And I remember at a certain point, like I was sauced up. I was loving life, and he wasn't drinking because he was driving. And when you're on like a night out, you're like loving yourself, and you look at your friend being like, "Are you okay? You having fun?" And I said it to him, and he goes, "No, I'm not." And I was just like, "What the fuck? That's not what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to say yes." Like what? But yeah, he just was not having a fun time. And I told him, "How's about you go home?" It was like 9, 10 o'clock. Just go home. Like we can get home ourselves, okay, without you. And he goes, "I can't do that. I've promised everyone a lift home." I'm like, "Why'd you fucking do that?" Like everyone Like I said, this is the first time we're all in and out. We're gonna be here until we're kicked out by the bar staff, which would be like what, 1:30 in the morning. And he goes like, oh, rolling his eyes. And once he heard that information, he was in an even worse mood. And so when he brought everyone back home, he brought me home again, and done the exact same thing that he done last time, but it was a different question. But it made me even angrier. Like, it wasn't him asking if he was manly enough. He just looked at me and says, "Do you love your friends more than me?" I was just like, oh, fuck's sake. Like, it really pisses me off because, like, you know, when you, like, give people the validation, like, you always try your hardest to make them, like, secure, but, like, they're always, like, digging for something. Like, they're always looking for something to be upset about. And, like, you're the villain. Like, you're, like, look at how you're treating me. Excuse me. I'm, like, starting to get up some receipts now because this is where things get a little bit fishy. So, all in all, we would have been, you know, kind of talking to each other for, say, like a month or two, you know, like texting. And then we would have been, like, after that, like, horrible carbonara dinner date, we would have been, like, official for just 2 months. Like, that was how long the relationship was for me to realize, oh, you're, like, fucking gone in the head. I need to leave this situation. And, no joke, another 9 months after this, he continues to harass me, stalk me, and just be an absolute sicko. So I remember it would have been maybe like a couple of days. I would have broke up with him mid August. So middle of August, maybe 2 weeks after that. I remember there was this like gig happening in the town, and I was like, you know, I have to go out and take pictures of this, you know, distract myself. And this shit rarely happens in the town. And I remember I went out and I was getting phone calls off him, I was getting text messages off him that, like, I need to leave right now to attend to him. He can't be alone. You know, he's gonna, like, he was threatening to kill himself, and it just wasn't nice. You know, there would have been like constant messages and phone calls with just that, like, you need to fix me. Like, I'm the problem, you're the solution. And it always fell down to him taking his life. And I don't want to go like too deep here. I don't want to say that, like, you know, uh, all men use this as an excuse. Not all men, because obviously there are men out there that, like, you know, take their own lives. There's like a more of a higher statistic of men taking their own lives than women, only because men don't want to seek the proper help that's out there. Obviously, like, men do suffer horribly. However, if you ever use your mental health as like a weapon, or like the thought of like you taking your own life as a weapon against your partner, like, you're scumbag, absolute dirtbag, red flag, fucking number 72. I don't know. I did find that as, like, you know, it was such a pattern in relationships, or in my relationships anyway. Like, any time that you faulted them, anytime you pointed out their shitty behavior, that's when mental health was a thing. Like, you know, I used to talk about my mental health with partners. They didn't really be like, oh, you're just like, you know, all girls like make this up. But, you know, like, I try to talk about it so it's known. However, when I, for example, I remember on my 21st birthday, I was working that day and I really wanted to get it off. Over in Ireland and UK, like, your 21st birthday isn't as big as it would be in America, but it's still like, it's a milestone birthday. And I remember I begged my boss to get it off, and he said, no, you have to come in. And I was like, oh, can I at least have a half day? He was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I got to leave at 1. And I was like walking home. I was like skipping home. I was like, oh my God, what's my boyfriend done for me for my birthday? I can't wait. Like, what is the big surprise going to be? And I got into the flat, and yeah, it was probably messier from when I left it. And my my ex was just sitting on the sofa in his boxers playing Warzone. And I was just like, oh, okay, maybe this is like the surprise. Maybe something's coming. Something's gonna come. And I sit down next to him, and I'm just watching him play the game. And I sit there for, like, shit you not, like 2 hours. And I kind of look at him being like, so is this like my birthday? You're not gonna, like, give me a birthday card or wish me a happy birthday. Oh my god, Billy, I'm so depressed. Why don't you think about my feelings for once? I'm gonna kill myself. And I'm just like, it's my fucking birthday. Like, I'm not asking. Like, this is would that be bare minimum? Like, do I ask for that fucking much? And I don't know. See, I don't know if I'm making this personal now or if this is me just being super paranoid. But like, and I can be a bit open about it now because I'm a bit older and a bit wiser. But when I was younger, it was still like a really hard thing to talk about with like partners because I feel like I don't know, it's like a part of my identity big time. Like if you are gonna be in a relationship with me, here's my terms and conditions, you know? So a little brief history. When I was 8, my grandmother, she took her own life, and it's been like such a heavy burden to live with because like obviously at the age of 8, you're not gonna tell like an 8-year-old that your grandmother just took her life. Everyone told me that she was sick, so like I was grieving because she was sick. It wasn't until I was 14, 15, I learned that she actually took her life. And then I had to grieve all over again. But then, you know, it was kind of a bit enlightening to hear that because I suffered some mad thoughts. And now that I knew that she probably suffered the same thoughts, you know, it's kind of like I thought I was such a weirdo of the family thinking like this, and now that I know that my grandmother thought this way, it kind of made me feel a little bit normal. And me and my brothers like do talk about it, or me and my family do try to talk about it anyway. But anyway, it's been like a very hard thing, and it's like such like I don't mind talking about it, but it's like other people like can be very uncomfortable when you bring up like you know self-harm or suicide. So like I just tend not to like you know awkward a situation. But I remember like when it came to my first boyfriend, was so optimistic. Like obviously like whatever I said to him, he's gonna be like, oh my god, like are you okay, like very sympathetic, or you know very caring. At least like I'm not asking for attention, like I'm just like saying this is like my story, whatever. And I remember telling him that, like, yeah, this happened to my grandmother. And he turns to me and says, wow, your family are melodramatic. I was like, what the fuck? Imagine saying that to someone after the, oh, fuck. It just, I remember just really, like, the walls went straight back up. I just absolutely reclused. And, like, the more quiet and the more sad I got, made him a lot more angry at me. Ugh, that was such a fucking shit night. I hated it so much. I remember like sharing it too with my third ex. He did share with me like, you know, his like father passing away. And, you know, just to kind of like relate to him, I kind of shared, you know, like my like the closest person to me would have been my grandmother that passed away. So we're just talking about that, and I would have told him what happened to her. And I'm just thinking, like, you know, each boyfriend that I've thrown, like, I'm gonna kill myself after me telling them that someone really close to me killed themselves. You know, I kind of think they're using it as like a manipulation technique. Like, I know this will upset you because you've went through this. Maybe that's in my own head, but I really do think like they could say anything else to upset me, but they jump straight to that. And like as soon as I've heard those words or read those words, like I don't know. I was just like, yeah, thank you for saying that. I have zero feelings towards you now. You're a pathetic human. Just like, fuck yourself. So after weeks of like constant like messages, phone calls, emails, like I was blocking everything. Again, this is like an advice number 36. When you're breaking up with someone, you need to let them know. I feel like you need to be a lot harsher because like when I was breaking up with people, because it's awkward, you don't want to hurt them. You obviously like losing me, like fucking hell. I feel so bad for you. I don't want to make your life even worse, so I'm gonna let you down easy. So like when I was like ending things with him, he was like calling me nonstop, and I remember there was times I couldn't use my phone because like I didn't even want to like lock it. I didn't want to like you know completely hang up the phone call in case he did something. I just wanted him to catch the hint that I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to answer his texts or anything. And he didn't get it. So I was blocking him, blocking his phone number. And then he was still able to message me through like his email. Like it's like something to do with Apple. I have no idea how he was able to do it. I think it was through his iPad, you know, FaceTime. And when that wasn't working, when I wasn't responding to that, he was leaving notes at my door. Like, he was leaving me little letters at the door. He was also, one of the weirdest things he done was, like, he messaged one of the friends in the group. I was like, why? He messaged, like, a full fuck off, like, paragraph to her. And then I had her girlfriend message me being like, why is your ex messaging my girlfriend? I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now. I don't know what's going on in that man's head at all. And then his mother from Australia was starting to ring me. So, like, the time difference, she was ringing me at like fucking 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, why is she enabling this behavior? Like, that mother is just enough to blame for what is to come. My god, dumb bitch. So this was going on. He wasn't getting the hint. The only way he could reach me was to talk to me through his mother. So again, she messaged me at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I remember, like, I was already up, like, I was up for work. Like, I wasn't up, but I was just in bed, waking up. She kept on messaging me, like, oh, you need to take him back. He's so sorry. He's just on the alcohol. This isn't like him. He's never usually like this. You need to take him back. Like, absolutely, like, enabling this boy's behavior. I kind of just had enough. I'd message her back, being like, no harm. You need to stop messaging me. Oh, I need to crack my back. And I told her, you need to stop enabling this. If you don't stop messaging me, I'm going to have to get the police involved. And I sent that to her. And then she just messaged me back, okay. And I just felt this like weight lifted. And I was like, oh, it's done. Oh my God, I've won. Oh my God, I've won the battle. And I remember sitting in bed just being like all snug and being like, it's all over. Like, they finally all shut the fuck up and left me alone. And while I was in bed, I heard this car really violently drive up outside my flat. I heard a car door slam. And I heard very loudly, Billie, where are you? And I remember I was in bed and I just rose up like that. I was just like, oh shit. Bear in mind, my brother, thank fuck, he was just so happening sleeping on this very couch when this happened. It was just too good to be true. Like, his head would have been right here. It's too perfect. So after I heard that, I didn't know what to do. I was just absolute shock through my body. And when I grabbed my bedroom door, I could hear the bottom door of the flat block swing open. Like, he kicked that open. And I was like, oh shit. I ran into the living room then. And like, how do you wake up your family? Like, do you imagine putting yourself in this situation where your deranged ex is screaming for you? This is 6 o'clock in the morning. You're guessing like he's absolutely steaming off, like, off his head. Like, you're you're waking up your poor like sibling that's like peaceful asleep. I was like, psst, bro, my ex is at the front door. And my brother was like, what? And then as soon as he goes, what? You could hear bang, bang, bang at the front door. Billie, where are you? Fucking hell, that sentence is like ingrained in my head. I see you. Come out now. Me and my brother just shot up straight away. I remember looking at myself in the mirror. Like, there's a big mirror there. I looked at myself. I did not recognize myself. I don't know if you've ever like been genuinely like scared, or sorry, like, obviously we probably have, but like seeing yourselves, seeing what you look like, it looked like shell shock. Like, it was so, I did not recognize my face at all. Like, I was that scared. And I remember, like, me and my brother, just out that door, we went through the hallway, and my brother said to me, you be quiet, pretend you're not home. Just pretend like I'm house sitting or something. And if he thinks that you're not here, he might fuck off. And I was like, right, okay. So, like, I was standing in the hallway with my brother, like, Duh. So me and my brother were in the hallway, and my brother's shouting at him, yo, it's just me here. It's just her brother here. Just go away. Billy's staying at a friend's house. And as soon as he heard my brother's voice, he fucking goes outside, looks for my brother's car, and destroys the fucking car. He destroyed the car so bad, he picked up one of the fucking wheelie bins that were sitting outside, and he picked it up with both hands and threw it on the windshield. He broke the windshield, the side windows, and he at one point he was standing on top of it, dancing, like, well, not dancing, but jumping on top of the car. And it's like, it's so sad because, like, my brother put a lot of work into that car, and like all my niece's baby clothes were in that car. So like they're all covered in glass. Like, you couldn't even, like, that's for the bin. You can't even like fix that or clean it up to give to a baby. It's not worth, like, he's fucked everything up, and he wasn't even done. So my ex comes back to the flat and he's really fucking determined to come in. And then while it was so quiet, he so eerily screams from outside my flat. And I've never ever heard anyone say this to me before, and it'll stick with me until the day I die. He screams back at my brother, "I've came here to kill Billie and her entire family." And as soon as he said that, me and my brother just like looked at each other and looked back at the front door, being like, "We are so fucking screwed." At a certain point, he keeps busting in the door, busting in, and they're pretty hefty doors. But at a certain point, like, you could see the corner of the door was caving in. It just caved in so perfectly. Again, me and my brother looked at each other, being like, "This fucking door is gonna go." Like, if he, like, my ex outside is so adamant to get through, he's gonna get through. And so my brother looks at me, being like, "Yeah, call the police." And I was like, "Fuck." When you're even like the victim, to calling the police is so scary, especially the PSNI. So don't really fucking trust them half the time, really. But yeah, I called the police, and fair play, they got here super fucking fast. And I think it was like a bunch of like female officers that took him down. And apparently he wasn't resisting. He kind of just waited for police. And the police kind of pissed me off at one point. I remember I was on the phone with them the entire time, as you do. And they actually asked me, do I want to speak to him? I was like, "You fucking mental. I don't want to speak to him. Like, get him as far away from me as you possibly can." But another thing of like being scared to like get the police involved is because you don't know if they'll get your justice. You don't know, like, obviously everything will be on record now, but that's it. Will there be any punishment? Probably fucking not. But like, those are the rules, unfortunately. Like, if anything happens to you, you have to follow protocol. You have to call the police, report it, and it's in the police hands, which means nothing. Honest, well, from my experience, it fucking means nothing. But anyway, he was arrested, and his charges were uh threats to kill, harassment, stalking, criminal damage to the car and to my front door, and like drinking and driving. I think there was something else I can't remember, but like all those ones, like he he had a lot of charges on his list, if you know what I mean. But he was bailed out. So like after he was arrested, that was a Monday. And unfortunately, like, if you want to get people arrested, make sure they get arrested on like a Friday or a Saturday, because they're not going to be like let out until the Monday. You want them to fucking stay and stew in their own filth all weekend. But unfortunately, he was arrested on a Monday, which meant like he was bailed out within seconds. Like, I don't know how much bail it was, but he was let out in no time. And the police let me know, but to be fair, they're so fucking slow in informing me. Like, they tell me this information like 24 hours, 48 hours after it happens. When you get bailed out, you get bail conditions. And I can't remember all, if he had a big list of bail conditions, but he had two. And one of them was not to make any contact with me at all. And the other one was not to drive ever again. I don't know if they took like license off him or anything like that, but those literally two fucking rules he had to follow. And did he follow them? No. Not only did he break his bail conditions once, twice, three times, he broke his bail conditions four fucking times. Four times. Each time he was arrested, bailed out, broke his bail condition, arrested, bailed out, broke his bail. Like, how many fucking second chances do you need? Is that not the whole point of bail conditions, by the way? Is that like, like, we're gonna speed up the process. You obviously can't be told what to fucking do, so we're just gonna keep you in prison up until your actual court hearing. What the fuck? And throughout this, like, he was breaking his bail conditions just by like, again, by contacting me in the most weird ways. Like, I remember I had like my son's delirium website for my photography. I had like a little inquiry box. He was leaving me messages on there talking about how emotionally unstable I am, which is like fair enough, but fucking keep that off my business account, you can't. So I have a Ring camera on my front door, and I forgot to mention this. So on the day that he came to mine, my Ring camera isn't like connected to wiring. You'd have to take it off and charge it. And aren't I like a lazy fucking bitch? I didn't have it charged, so I could have had that perfectly recorded. And when my mom came over too, 'cause she was like, "Billy, you're a fucking stupid bitch. I'm gonna charge it for you." She's seen when she's taken off the wall or my door, he was actually trying to pry it off because he must have thought it was recording, but it wasn't, unfortunately. After he was arrested, and like one of the bail conditions he broke was because I caught him like on my Ring camera coming to my front door. What the fuck? He'd done that like a couple of times, I think. And one of the times, like, I was home and I had to be like, he finally had his court hearing. So this was like the big court hearing of him like threatening to kill me, coming to my flat, destroying the car and everything. Like this is like, I thought, right, he's definitely gonna do time. Like this has to happen. Those are the rules. Like, you know, like he's done all this shit and then he was told, right, here's your second chances, and here's another second chance, and here's another second chance. You keep breaking them. And it's like none of that has been a consequence to him. Like he's served no punishment. So the result of the court hearing was like a suspended sentence. And from my knowledge, a suspended sentence literally means that you've gotten away with it. You've gotten away with everything that you've done. You have to be on your best behavior for 1 year. But again, you have two rules. Don't be drunk. Like, don't drink, or don't drink and drive, or like, that's a given. Obviously, don't do that. Or like, I don't know again if they took his license off him. So it was one of those two. And don't make contact with me. So it's not even like a don't make contact like the bail conditions. It's like a strict restraining order now. Like, and I remember for Fermanagh Pride in September last year, I was out at that. I was out at the castle, and I was out there with a former member of the pod, Leah, and it was like so busy. Like there's bodies everywhere. And I remember we were kind of walking through the crowd of people, and he was just there. My ex just came, and I feel like he knew I was there. Like he knew I was bi. He used to argue that like I wasn't bi. It probably didn't settle well with him, but like he knew that I was at this event either through like my like, me talking about it on my social media or whatever. Like why else would he have been there? And I remember seeing him, and I just went, it was like that so Raven moment. Like my mind just went back to like all the horrors that I experienced. And I remember grabbing my friend by the arm, and I just dragged her away from that situation. And she then went and told the staff of Fermanagh Pride. And you know what? Fair fucks to the Fermanagh Pride staff, because they're in like the warriors. They were out there scouting for him, looking for him. But I think he must have like found out that they were looking for him, and he left then. And after he'd done that, he started to contact me again by commenting on the podcast YouTube channel, I think. Yeah, he's making comments on it. Was just the basic fucking shit that like I'm a shit person. So after him leaving comments on the YouTube channel, I thought this is him attempting to make contact with me again. Like this is so fucking out of order. Like does he actually know what he's doing? So I called the police again and told them that what I think he's broke his restraining order. They looked into it and they're like, yeah, he basically has arrested him, let him out on bail again. Like I didn't understand because I thought that was surely it. He broke his restraining order. So you think, right, how many chances is that? He's gonna have to do the sentence now. It's not a suspended sentence. He has to do like, I don't know how many years all those charges were, but he basically got away with it a fuck again. When he broke that restraining order, I called the police. They arrested him, like done a whole investigation, but then he was bailed out again. And then I got a call from the police after like 5-6 weeks, and they're like, yeah, basically this is like a new case now. And I didn't understand it because like obviously like the restraining order came from the prior case. So you think that it'd be in this is where I'm so fucking confused, and no one explained it to me that well, and I was just so like traumatized with the experience. I didn't really want to know. I just wanted to like, move on. But yeah, that was it. Fucking all that shit for like literally no result at all. And he's still out there to this day. I couldn't wait to get away because like obviously with everything that would happen, I felt like I don't want to put so much of the blame on myself, but like I brought him into my life. Therefore, I brought him into like my friends' lives, my family's lives. Like him, like my brother's car wouldn't have gotten destroyed if it weren't for like me bringing him in. And I was just like, so I couldn't wait just to disconnect from that immediately. And one of the surest things to me for like to know that no one's like no good, obviously from their actions, but I feel like words say a lot too. Like he exchanged a lot of nasty shit to me. Now there's some of this message that I don't want to read out because I honestly I can't read the words. I can't say the words. I honestly can't say the words out loud because it makes me feel sick. But the rest of it's pretty funny. So my loving boyfriend said this to me. I feel sorry for you. That is the reason I responded to your note. I saw someone nobody would ever find attractive, and I feel sorry for you. Nobody will ever buy your photos because nobody wants a picture of a cow or goalposts. Fair. I was being encouraging and I didn't tell you the truth. Your photos are average. You're a midgety, flabby, droopy eyed, flat footed, spotty faced cunt, and I hope you kill yourself. Can you believe you fucking said that to me? Out of all the things you could say to me, your photos are fucking average. You fucking kidding me? Oh my god. You can tell me to kill myself all day, every day. It's the first thing in my fucking mind. But my photos are average. You're fucking having a giraffe. No, I'm not having that. That's shit. Bit of a change up. Very sorry about that. I've never really experienced this before, but when I was doing or when I started this episode yesterday, I was like really down for it. I mean, I knew it was gonna be like a bit of like, I don't know, rehashing my past, but I thought, it was okay to talk about. But yeah, I don't know what happened to me really, but I just got so, I don't know, exhausted. Yeah, and I found myself like going into deep thought all the time. Like I was staring into space. I couldn't really keep on track on what I was talking about. It's because like the whole shit that happened with my ex happened maybe say like almost 2 years ago now. Like maybe longer. I really don't know. But like throughout the years, I've been nonstop like talking about it. But like this is the first time that I've actually sat down and went through all those like text messages again. So even though I was like laughing at it, I was just like, oh damn, that was like a pretty like shit time for me. So yeah, and then it was just like, talking about my grandmother too. It was just I thought I was okay with it, but it just came crashing down on me. You think like the normal response for someone to have like a bit of a mental breakdown is like to cry, but for some reason my body was just like, no, shut down. You're gonna be super tired. You need to go to sleep. And as soon as I kind of like said the whole story, which I honestly don't know if I like did it justice, because my head was just absolutely frazzled. Every time I thought of what happened to me, I think of another thing, and I think of another thing that shit that I kind of blanked out. So I was just like very overwhelmed, and like yeah, I had to kind of stop filming, but I'm back in it again. I'm like had work today, and then I came back home and just like absolutely died for a few. I took like a big extra nap, and then I took not shower. I took a bath, and now I feel rejuvenated to like jump back into it. So where was I? Oh yes, you're a midgety, flabby, droopy-eyed, flat-footed, spotty-faced cunt. I hope you kill yourself. The one that got away. Yeah, it was mad. It's kind of funny. I wouldn't wish anyone that, even my enemies, I wouldn't wish they'd get like messages like this, because even though it's laughable, it is just like, I don't know, it's so fucking careless. The spotty face, yeah, to be fair, I break out quite a lot. It's so bad, and then it doesn't help that I pop them all the time. But coming after my flat foot, what the fuck? That's like so below the belt. It's not fair. It's so niche. Such a niche thing to make fun of me. Like out of all the things, my feet, my dogs, dude, leave me alone. So yeah, that would have been like the last message he sent me. And I was just like, yeah, I'm done with this. There's no helping this dude. I can't help this maniac. So I know this is like a bit of a reach, but this is something that I've been super paranoid about. And like with the whole thing with my ex and how he had broken his bail conditions 4 times, and he broke his restraining order, and he like kept getting away with everything. I just thought it's so super fishy. There's something not right here. And obviously, like, my paranoid little conspiracy mind kind of jumped in. Is there someone in, say, like the police force or judge system or whatever that has ties to my ex? So to make things a little bit more simpler, because the entire time I've been keeping my exes anonymous, and I want to keep them anonymous. I don't want to like get sued or anything. But to make this a lot easier to understand, I'm gonna give him like a little pseudonym. I'm gonna give him a fake name. So his last name, I'm just gonna call him Rabbit. How would I find out that my ex Rabbit would have someone, in the system that's like, making things work? And before I get sued, I don't want to get sued by anyone, and I don't want to make things controversial or anything. Like, this is stuff that I was so easily able to research. I've used ChatGPT because do you ever have like a really long, complicated question to ask Google, and once you ask it, Google doesn't know what you're talking about. So I asked ChatGPT. So everything that I'm going to tell you, I'm not making it up. This is stuff that I've found on the internet. But again, with names are being involved and locations, like specific locations, I'm going to keep it very vague so I don't get into too much bother. The best way I could have asked ChatGPT was just to ask, can you find if there are any PSNI police officers? PSNI in Ireland is the Police Service Northern Ireland, the RUC, or judges with the last name Rabbit. You get me? If we're on the same track. What is the RUC, you may be asking? The RUC is the Royal Ulster Constabulary. I can never say that word. It was the main police force in Northern Ireland from 1922 until 2001. It was created after the partition of Ireland when Northern Ireland became part of the UK. In 2001, the RUC replaced by the Police Service of Northern Ireland as part of reforms connected to the peace process after the Troubles. The RUC itself was super controversial. It was one of the most debated institutions in Northern Irish history because of its role during the Troubles. The RUC were accused of sectarian bias, discrimination in policing, excessive force. There were also some documented and credible reports, investigations, and ombudsman findings involving the Royal Ulster Constabulary that raises serious concerns about how female victims and vulnerable women were treated in some cases. A lot of RUC members carried on from the RUC into the PSNI. A lot of these people do change their names too. So, like, it's very dodgy. The whole thing's stinky. It said short answer yes for the RUC and no for the PSNI or judge with the surname Rabbit. So the RUC members found was an RUC member, Rabbit, documented in the 1930s. So probably not that one. By the way, let me go back to the question I asked. I never asked ChatGPT if there is like a person with this last name in Ireland. Like, I just said, is there this person in existence, full stop. But like the second person that it came up with, the last name Rabbit, this is fucking brilliant. A local news photo caption names a Rabbit as a former RUC officer in Fermanagh. I thought this is too perfect. Like, the same last name, and it's in not even Northern Ireland, and it's in the same county that I'm from and where my ex's dad is originally from with that same last name.
Coincidence? I think not!
But yeah, and the RUC are just like, they were dodgy people, and I feel like the PSNI are just dodgy altogether as well. I don't know whether to trust them at all, which is such a shame because most of the people that are working on my case were women. You'd think they'd want to be like on your side of things. Goes to show again, like, why there's so many. It must be like at least over 30 now women in Northern Ireland alone that have lost their lives since 2020 to femicide. They really want to see you suffer before your help, and it's disgusting. Like, the justice system over here do not care about women's safety at all. But please don't come after me. Again, this is stuff that I've researched online. This guy could probably not be related to my ex. It could be just like a very common name. Like, they could be related, but this guy could not be affiliated with the RUC or police service or whatever. and like he hasn't been, tipping off. He probably doesn't even know about this like nephew that he has or whatever. So I've been researching ways on how to help heal from a breakup. Just all these simple steps that are kind of obvious, but like something to kind of make light of anyway. So first things first, it is grief. So don't try and fight it. It's okay to be sad. You can cry it out and just like take some time to yourself. Try not to like do what I do and absolutely close yourself off to the world. And like I said before, it's more or less like people don't miss the person, but they miss the relationships. So like ways to fill in that time would be like, talk to a friend, send friends messages, voice notes, call them. You can like start journaling, start a wee journal, write about your day, write about your feelings and all that. You can listen to podcasts. You can even go for a walk. If you have a dog, that's brilliant. Take your dog out for a walk. It's like such a brilliant excuse to get outdoors, and it does an absolute wonder for your mental health. Get stuck into creative projects. That's what I done. I don't know if that was good for me, but I feel fucking fantastic. Go to the gym, self improvement, and then there's volunteering or community groups. Like get yourself involved in some sort of community group, like Pride's coming up. Like get yourself involved in that. So for a little bit of self care, I thought I shall have a bit of, how would I say it? There's like my breakup ritual, witchy. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So I got my wine. I'm just not a red wine drinker. Ew. And I've got my incense. So I looked online and I tried to look for all the emotional healing, comforting scent incense sticks. So lavender is good for anxiety and sleep. Sandalwood is for overthinking and emotion stability. Rose is self-love, heartbreak, healing. Frankincense is clarity, meditation, emotional reset. But what I do have, if I have a lighter, is sandalwood. Where's my? I'm pretty sure this is sandalwood. I'm almost certain that's what I bought. I should have lit this ages ago, so I wouldn't have had a mental breakdown yesterday. Okay. Get that shit all over you if you can. All over the room. So I read online that like one way of like, getting out all of your like negativity, all of the things you've ever wanted to say to your ex that you never really got a chance, you got no closure for, you could like, you know, write them an actual little letter. When you're writing them a letter, you make sure you write their name, you write down everything you couldn't get closure for, and you sign it off, and I think you burn it or you rip it up. I think it's better if you burn shit, to be honest. Just like you want to incinerate that fucking memory to fuck. For a more fun and practical ritual to conduct, there's the cord cutting ritual. So that consists of a candle, black or white, string, scissors, paper, and incense. Awesome. So I've got string. Not really. I've got this thing. I don't have string. This is from my dressing gown. I don't know if it's important. I'm sure it'll do the same thing. I will need a candle and scissors. Awesome. Where would they be? It says a black candle or a white candle, and I only have a purple one. Is that okay? I hope the curse or whatever I'm doing won't reverse on me. What? Okay, awesome. So candle, string. This is me. I am Rasta Mouse. Going to attach this somehow. Oh, okay. Here, look. This is me. This is me. I am Rasta Mouse, and I have attached a cord to my little mouse hand, and this toilet roll is my ex. I haven't. It's not really a specific ex. I feel like I've just merged all the three together. Does anyone watch Bill and Ted? Bogus Journey, like the best Bill and Ted film. Station, I think it was. Or it was like the two little creature things that joined together into one big creature. That's what I imagine all my exes as, and that's what they look like. Okay, I'm going to attach the cord to yon ex-partner. who I never really liked anyway. And I just wanted a decent book, which I never even got. Right, awesome. We are halfway there. So, oh, right. So I need to, like, I know I've told you who's who, but I need to actually label it. That's me. Can you see? That's me. Oh my god. Ugh. This is my ex. Can you read that? Can you tell them apart? So step 2, you visualize the connection, okay? You sit quietly and imagine a cord between you and them. A lot of practitioners describe this as an energetic tether representing attachment, grief, anxiety, trauma bonds, etc. You're not trying to erase the person or the memories, you're releasing the part that keeps hurting you, you know? That deep. And you can say something like, oh god, that's so queer. Right, I'm ready for it though. Okay, so you're about to cut the cord. Can you see it? I hope it's in focus. And you say something like this. What is mine returns to me. What is yours returns to you. I release this bond with peace. Fuck. Jesus. And if you're not that certain that that worked, die, motherfucker! You need help. You need section. So yeah, you could do something like that, I think. Oh, that's hot. Fire hot. Where's my wee chalky milk? Fuck, I feel great after that. I think the burning works. I think we should just burn stuff instead of cutting ropes is useless. I think we should just burn stuff. I just like melting stuff. Oh, so step 4 was cleanse afterward. So you could do this by shower, salt bath, changing bed sheets, opening windows, deleting messages, all that metaphorical, you know, cleansing. And then it says incense, so I could just, if I'm going to play with fire, get the, am I doing it right? I don't know, maybe you just could do this at home. Take notes, I hope so. Okay, that's enough of that. Yeah, so there's loads of little silly rituals that you could do with friends. Like, do you actually remember the show Friends, where they were burning like a bunch of their ex's stuff or like photos or something like that? You know, like you could just have a night out with your mates, get yourself a wee glass of wine, and just, I don't know, have a laugh, because I think that would be really good for you. So I asked some former guests that I've had on the show if they'd give me some advice to pass on to anyone else, you know, how to get over a breakup, what their little coping mechanisms were, what their advice altogether was. And Noeleen Beef, she said, as Ethel Cain sings, if it's meant to be, then it will be. There's no point clinging to potential or lost futures. Embrace the real and the now. David Doherty-Jebb said, take a wee break, hang out with friends, then have a wee period of being really slutty. Lots of meaningless, fun, and safe interactions with people who seem dead on. And just remind yourself you're a legend and your ex is probably a loser or you'd still be with them. He's got a point there. Emer Maguire has to have the best advice. She told me the best advice I can give after my 11-year relationship was get another dog, and it worked. And yeah, like I said before, when I left my first partner, I had my dog Murphy. He was a godsend. I was so happy to have him, you know. I really just like clung to him. And yeah, going out for walks is really good for your mental health. And it was just, you know, coming home from work, you know, say when I still live with my ex, coming home from work, I'd be fucking arguing with him, and then there's wee Murphy in the corner and his tail's wagging, and like he is the only, like, it is so sad, but he's like the only, I don't want to say person, but yeah, that like wanted me around. Like he actually showed that he loved me. So overall advice and my like red flags to like, I don't know, look out for. Don't be, again, don't be handing out your phone number to strangers that you don't know. I feel like I have such a poor judge of character. Like I generally thought the Australian one that came over literally didn't know anyone, and that's why he was weird. But little did I know he was like a fucking Ted Bundy in the making. Yeah, fussy eaters, red flag. Don't be sending your ex emails. You know, if it's gotten to that point, like they're obviously not getting back in touch with you, don't be sending them emails. Don't be sending letters to their door. Don't be starting Facebook when you don't need to have Facebook just to make contact with me. And please, for the love of God, don't go to someone's front door, lie on the ground, and start crying. And I'd love to know what everyone else does with, like, you know, your ex's stuff. I remember my first ex, when it came to gifts for like Christmas or birthdays, I remember I got him an Apple Watch and he got me a Samsung watch. But when we broke up, he demanded that watch back. Like, he was like, give me that fucking watch back. I spent money on it. I was like, right, okay, I gave him the watch back. And then I was just like, well, can I have the Apple Watch back? And he goes, no. I was like, what the fuck? And then my last ex used to like buy me these like caps or like hats. I don't know how to describe it. It had such a wide, like a base. Like the hat came down to here on me. Like I didn't like them at all. And he got me like this photography book. And yeah, I didn't know what to do with it. I was so tempted to like, you know, bin it, burn it or something. But I was thinking again, he's got like a pretty expensive taste. And I put that shit in Vinted. Yeah, there's been so many red flags I've probably, you know, brushed over, you know, like talking, because you don't really know you're being abused or you're being mistreated until someone else kind of points it out. It goes over some people's heads. But yeah, if you feel like something's wrong in the relationship, something probably is wrong. Like there's probably like loss of feeling there. You know, it could be a mixture of all these things, lack of communication or anything like that. Obviously, talk to friends regardless. You know, you want to keep them on the same page as you. But if you feel like, you know, it, the relationship's kind of going like a bit domestics or coercive or anything like that, please get in contact with Women's Aid or any like youth club or someone that you can talk to that can get you the right help. Before I end, I want to go through these little polls that I put up on Instagram. It's so funny because so many of yous are so savage. It's unreal. So one of my first polls were, how do you break up with someone? And the options were in person, over text, phone call, or just ghost them. And it was such a mixed reaction. So there's a lot of people being like over text, which I think is like so savage, and over phone call. Yeah, but most overall was like in person. You should break up with someone in person. Like you owe them that much, unless they are a horrific cunt and you just need to get out of that situation. The next one: what was the worst way to be broken up with? To be ghosted, leaves you while you're sick. And I only said that because do you remember the cancer story that I said before? And it was just crazy. Next one was public breakup, and the last one was been cheated on. A lot of people written that they've been cheated on, and it's like, damn, like it's so common for people to cheat. You know, I suppose everyone's like definition of cheating is different. I'm pretty petty. I'd say like flirting's cheating. My next poll was, what's your breakup recovery style? Cry it all out, glow up mode, distract myself constantly, or pretend I'm fine. And a lot of people said just cry it out, which I think is so sweet because everyone likes to internalize stuff. I know I do. Like, I don't like to cry. I keep that shit inside big time. And a lot of people also said distract themselves. And again, I've distracted myself with the podcast, with photography. Like, I know I've always said, like, I've done the podcast because I want experience, but it's kind of like the best of both worlds. Like, I really just, when I finished college, that's kind of when I was going through the bullshit with my ex. I kind of just wanted to jump straight into the workforce, but I couldn't. I wasn't getting jobs. So I was like, right, do the podcast. And like, I've really felt somewhat a purpose to life now, kind of. And my last one was, are queer breakups more emotionally intense? Way more, or I put the options, I have no idea. And like, everyone wrote way more, so that's great. I have something to think about. And it's something I really wanted to talk about in this episode as well. You know, like the breakups between same-sex couples and opposite sex couples. Like, what would there be, like, you know, a total like emotional difference? And I do think there would be. And but I just didn't know how to like get that information. I didn't want to go up to, like, you know, a bisexual girl and be like, have you been with a man and a woman? Who broke your heart more? So yeah, I think that's kind of all I have to say about breakups. I think in conclusion, love doesn't exist. It's a scam. Stay away from it. Trust no one. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like so negative. I've never really experienced a positive couple. So like my idea of like relationships is so weird. I'm just thinking, oh, it doesn't last. maybe that's definitely just like a me thing. And yeah, just look after yourself. Be selfish. Be fucking selfish. Just work on yourself, work on your wee projects, go to the gym. There's much more pressing things in life than a stupid boy that's broken your heart or any type of relationship. And there's better out there. Believe it or not, like if you're going through a breakup right now, if you've just been through a breakup or you're about to break up with someone, like just know that there's better out there. And I know I've been like centering this episode around like partners, like boyfriends, girlfriends, partners, breakups, but like breakups can still be like, you know, your family and friends. Like there's only so much you can do. And if you're not getting like the respect back, what's the point? Just fucking walk away from it. You can definitely relate to me and the shit that I've been through, or hopefully you haven't got like as like shit messages or like treatment that I have, and hopefully you don't have a family member that has like, you know, took their life or has cancer or anything like that, and your partner just like, you know, making your life that's already pretty shit even shittier. Take care of yourselves, guys. If you know, if you are going through like a shit breakup and you don't know what to do, and just like message the podcast. I don't know what help I can give you, but you know, it's good just if you feel like you've no one to talk to, like the chat's there. There's Women's Aid, there's the Rainbow Project, there's so much stuff out there that can help you. And just like keep yourself safe. Girls, like if your ex is going fucking bonkers, which will probably happen, because you're the best thing that's probably walked into their life and they fucked it. Everything that was like discussed on this episode was like either like stories that people have sent in or my own experiences or what I've researched online. Please don't like take it like so seriously to know. So yeah, if this like episode has been any helpful, I don't think it has been because it's been all over the show. I tried to like structure it so well, but as soon as I like started talking about all that dark shit, like I thought it was okay. It was so funny. I was sat here being like, I can talk about my granny, it's okay, I'm completely fine about it. But then I legit just broke down. Podcast is on all platforms. But yeah, I can't wait to just keep my head busy. And if you are enjoying it, please let me know. And yeah, love yous loads.